Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view, winter edition, 2026. It is drizzling. It's drizzling, so that's what that is. All right, that's the weather report, and it is Thirsty Thinking Thursday. So, recently, Thirsty Thinking Thursday is comprised of a series, and this series has been going on for a while. So, if you have not seen all the Thirsty Thinking Thursday for this series, Philippians 4:8, I just dripped on my paperwork, my pseudo quasi chicken scratch. Okay, so somebody said I shouldn't call it pseudo quasi chicken scratch notes, but because pseudo means false, and the words are not false. It's the notes. This idea that I'm actually studying. I'm not. I'm not. It's not study. It's quick in the morning, because this is my time in the morning to be out with the dog, not for study. And so my morning view is not about study. My morning view is about a conversation. So that's why I call it pseudo quasi chicken scratch notes. The chicken scratch is definitely real. What I have to say is real too. It's just I'm not putting deep dive concentration into my Thirsty Thinking Thursday notes. And that's why I say that. All right, that's moving right along. Chicken scratch. So we've been covering the words in Philippians 4:8. And so if you have not seen from the beginning, you won't see it here on Facebook. See, I take this video live on Facebook, and then I transport it over and upload it into YouTube. Mona E. Harrison, different than my Facebook profile. Mona E. Harrison. You'll see my white hair. You'll see my beautiful face. You will know you were in the right spot. And subscribe, like, share, comment, both on YouTube and on Facebook. And get all the bells and whistles. Hit the notifications as well. So, that's the commercial part of it. Moving on to our regular scheduled program, Philippians 4:8. What word are we on now? Oh, I'm trying to stretch out the arm. It doesn't want to stretch out on its own because it's a little brisk. It's chilly and it's damp. It's what it is. We were talking about old women the other day. All right, so today the word is virtue. And I totally forgot my coffee on the inside of the door while I sit underneath the eaves so my notes don't get too wet. Otherwise, I'd still be pacing out in the rain, out in the drizzle. If it was pouring rain, no, I stand right here next to the door. But in the drizzle, I do go out and walk. But not with notes. All right. So today, the word is virtue. So we've covered, if they're... I really need that coffee right now. We've covered true, noble, just, pure, lovely. Am I missing one? True, noble, pure, just, lovely, and good report. Yes, I got them all. So, good report. After that, it says, if there be any virtue, or if there be anything praiseworthy, think on these things. So, I have extended the words out, because before I only covered the 6, and now I'm covering the 8. I'm covering virtue and praiseworthy. So today, it is virtue. Virtue. Oh, stretch out the arm. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Oh, can you see me? All right. So, virtue, when looking it up, it's behavior showing high moral standards. The interesting thing about this is the word itself, virtue, has declined in its use since the 1800s to present. Could be what's wrong with the world. So anyways, it is also a good or useful quality of a thing. So, the virtue of a tool is its use, its availability, its how it stands up in time. All right. In Latin, it is virtus, and virtus meant valor, merit, moral perfection. But vir represented man. It's the word for man. So it talked about man's valor, merit, moral perfection. We know that man can't have moral perfection. We work towards that. But, to achieve perfection, we're not perfect. We were born not perfect. We've already sinned. If you're watching this, you've sinned in your life. Somewhere, somehow. Maybe not the big ones, maybe not the ones, maybe not the 10 Commandments, maybe not but even in the heart, some of our thoughts, they're not necessarily, I stretch out the arm, they're not necessarily sin, because some thoughts you can't control what pops into your brain, but you certainly can keep it from making a home there. They used to say you can't help a bird flying over your head and maybe pooping on your head. You can't control that. However, you can control him from building a nest, right? So that all refers to those thoughts that we have, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about thoughts. We take all those thoughts captive and we bring them to the throne room of God, and we weigh them on the scale of God's scale, a righteous scale, a scale that doesn't favor one side or the other. It's just. So. So we don't reach that moral perfection because sometimes we nurture those thoughts that we should not be thinking about. Paul is exhorting us to say, stop it already. Knock it off. These are the things you need to think about. Okay? So, it's basically, when it comes down to it, well, let's say this first. There's moral excellence, strength, and righteousness. So now we're looking at God's part of it, right? So moral excellence. Humans can't reach moral excellence. They can do, okay, maybe they can. They can't do outstanding. Which one's better, outstanding or excellence? I can't remember the scale on that. You were outstanding. Excellent. Well, one is higher than the other, and I can't remember which way it is. So if you guys who remember the grading scale in the Marine Corps, go ahead, type it in the comments. All right. So, and righteousness. It's basically saying this, that you're doing what is right, and you will avoid doing what is wrong. And then you'll be virtuous. That's the bottom line of virtue. That you do what is right and you avoid doing what is wrong. In Philippians, no, not in Philippians, in 2 Peter 1:5, he says to add to your faith virtue. It's adding qualities. So add to your faith virtue. And it's a quality that enhances faith. Now, what exactly are these qualities of virtue, right? So in 2 Peter, he's talking about adding qualities: knowledge, perseverance, godliness, brotherly kindness, and love. When you start acting in those ways, when you start being that, and I'm not talking knowledge in the human sense. We're talking about knowledge of the word, knowledge of of what is God doing right now. Knowledge of how to step into something. Having the skill set. Not just what you've learned in school. What you've learned in life. What you've learned in relationship and communion with God. Trying not to have the camera up so high, but there's the handle. The handle is helping me keep my arm straight. Tech stuff. All right. So Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 has the virtuous woman. She's referred to as being virtuous. And some of the qualities that it stands out for her is of diligence and wisdom and fear of the Lord. So when you're being diligent and you have wisdom and you fear the Lord, not fear the Lord is shaking in your boots. Oh my God. Well, yeah, you are, but not in the fear that, it's like a horror story. We're not talking about Hollywood fear. We're talking about honest. We're talking about this reverence. We're talking about this, yeah, he could take you out. He can absolutely take you out. And you need to be mindful of that. But he also just has so much power and so much glory and so much expanse that you are just in awe. How many times people go to the Grand Canyon? They already know the Grand Canyon's amazing. They have a photograph of the Grand Canyon. They've seen it on TV. They've seen it in a photograph. And how many times do people go to the Grand Canyon and they just stand in amazement at the sheer expanse and beauty of the Grand Canyon? And they say, pictures don't do it justice. Well, that's how it is with God. What we know about God just doesn't do it justice. You have to experience it one-on-one. You have to experience in real time, in real life, and not just through a picture, not just through someone describing it. It's something you experience. And when you experience that, there is a fear and reverence of the Lord that grabs your attention. And you never forget that experience. You never forget that what just took place. Okay. Galatians 5:22 and 23. It says the fruit of the Spirit. Right? That's what's in Galatians 5:22, 23. In nature, the fruit of the Spirit is virtuous. Also, the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes, also known as the Beatitudes. How to be. Okay, so the Beatitudes in Matthew 5 and 7, also in nature, are virtuous. So when you're looking at the fruit of the Spirit, I'm not gonna name them all. You can look them up. Each one in itself is virtuous. It is described by all of these things. The high moral standards, that would be godly standards, because we know, we've talked about it before, morals are subjective to the society and time. If people decide what is moral and what isn't moral. But when you're talking about high moral standards, now you're talking about that plumb line that's in the Bible. It's those things in the Bible that says, hey, it doesn't matter what man says is moral. It's what God says is moral. And when you stay on that standard, then it's a high moral standard. Ephesians 4:1. Ephesians 4:1 says, walk in a manner worthy of the calling that you have received. We've all received the calling. Walk worthy of that manner. It's talking about all those things that describe that word virtue encompassed. That's how we walk it out. It is in divine empowerment, but it's also human effort. Again, I told you this week, it is a partnership. It is a partnership. And God does his part, and we have to do our part. God will never fail his part. You know where the failure always comes in? Right here. This is where the failure comes in. So if we're like the virtuous woman, and we're diligent, and we have wisdom, and we fear the Lord, we won't give up. All right, so today's word, virtue, a dying word. Let's bring it back to life. All right, blessings, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow for, guess what? Feisty Friday. I know some of you love Feisty Friday, and I haven't been as feisty as I have in the past. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years. So, blessings, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.